Today marks the 19th anniversary of the bloody military crackdown on Tiananmen Square pro-democracy protests in China. Protesters laid roses in commemoration outside the Chinese embassy in Australia. A similar protest is planned in London later today. In Tiananmen Square itself, police kept a close watch on crowds to make sure there was no trouble at the daily flag-raising ceremony. But just weeks ahead of the Beijing Olympics, Channel 4 News has learned of new human rights abuses. Our China correspondent Lindsey Hilsum has this report on the fate of one political dissident.
This man has been a democracy activist in China for 30 years. His name is Jiang Wenhe. Last summer, as he was walking down a street in Beijing, he was snatched by 4 plainclothes policemen. Jiang disappeared. A month later, his family discovered that the authorities had imprisoned him without charge in this complex, a psychiatric unit for the criminally insane, known as an ankang. In China, those who question the system may be condemned as mad.
It sounds like the old days of the Soviet Union, but this is China now, 3 months before the Olympics. We can't know how many people are in the Beijing ankang behind me. But researchers and lawyers tell us that if the police don't want to go through the court system, they can send someone to a mental institution like this, where they may be defined as a political maniac and held indefinitely.
Jiang Wenhe's sister has come to one of Beijing's few independent legal practices for advice. She insists that her brother is not mentally ill. But the authorities have pressured the family to sign papers declaring him insane.
The police showed me records of their questioning of my brother. He had told them that he had supported a multi-party system and called the Olympics the fascist games. I berated him for saying this kind of thing to the police. He said he had been told it was just a chat, and then he had to sign. And he said if he is in prison because of the Olympics, then they are the fascist Olympics.
We spoke to one of China's leading mental health specialists. He's currently overhauling the country's mental health legislation. He denies that psychiatry is systematically abused in China.
Some people's political views are so far removed from reality and are too radical to change. Then their behaviour is abnormal and pathological. They may be considered as delirious. Those you have interviewed may belong to this group of delirious people whose political faith is not connected to reality.
The Chinese government didn't respond to our questions. Hosting the Olympic Games was meant to encourage China to improve human rights. But those locked up in the ankang have no rights at all.